This conference will now be recorded.
Sure. Not only bacterial diseases like cholera, typhoid fever, and other diarrheal diseases like caused by the Escherichia coli and Klebsiella and other bacteria, proteus, etc. Some viruses are also there, which are the responsible for waterborne diseases like poliomyelitis, hepatitis A, and hepatitis C. That is why we have to take the drinking water, which should be free, which should be not contaminated, and it should be clear, it should be colorless and without disagreeable taste and odor. Then only we have to take the drinking water. The pathogens reach water source. How the water will contaminate it? The pathogens, the bacteria, reach water sources by fecal or sewage contamination. Usually, the water will be contaminated by fecal, human feces or animal feces. The human feces and animal feces contains many bacteria, viruses, etc. And these feces will contaminate the drinking water, sometimes rivers, etc. Sometimes sewage contamination. Sewage also contaminated by the water. So prevent such contamination and treat water supplies. We have to prevent the contamination by particularly in the municipalities and other panchayatis, etc. We should prevent the sewage contamination and the drainage contamination, and we have to prevent the contamination by treating the water supplies like methods you following like chlorination. You have to follow the chlorination methods, and in the domestic purpose, we have to boil the water, and we have to take and we have to perform regular bacteriological surveillance. We have to perform the regular bacteriological surveillance. How much bacteria are present, how do the prevent the contamination, what are the tests we have to do for the observation of the contamination. Like that, we have to do for the pathogens pathogenic test. Usually, the unpolluted water sources contains with the unpolluted water also sometimes contains saprophytic bacteria. Not only polluted, not only contaminated, not only drinking water, some unpolluted water also contains saprophytic bacteria. Saprophytic bacteria. Not only the consumable water, not only domestic water, some unpolluted water from rivers, etc., also contaminated by the saprophytes, which are not contaminated by the feces or sewage. And these saprophytic bacteria like pseudomonas bacteria, which is the most common bacteria, which is contaminated with the unpolluted water. Pseudomonas is a saprophytic bacteria, which is present everywhere, and it is present in the fungi, along with fungi, etc. And that is why it is usually contaminated. Pseudomonas is contaminated with unpolluted water. And then Serratia bacteria also contaminated. Flavobacterium. These are the bacteria which cause sometimes diseases also in the humans, particularly in the immunocompromised persons. These Pseudomonas, Serratia, Flavobacterium, Chromobacterium. The Chromobacterium also causes sometimes diseases, and Acinetobacter and alkali genes, fecalis. These are the bacteria which are not coming from the feces or sewage. These are the saprophytic bacteria. These are the saprophytic. These are saprophytic means without the pathogenic nature. They are usually they are saprophyte. They are not pathogens. They are present in the water, unpolluted water. Sometimes, rarely, these bacteria also cause a disease. These bacteria are called saprophytic bacteria. Saprophytic bacteria also cause diseases in humans. Particularly, these are contaminated in unpolluted water. What are the pathogens spread through water in the community? What are the pathogens which are present in the spread through the water? Today we are discussing about water only, not usually the bacteria may be present in the water. Not only water, it is present in the air. It is present in the air, and it is present in the food also. Food is also contaminated by the bacteria and virus and fungi, etc. Today we are discussing about the water only, bacteriology of water. In the community, organism. What are the organisms? Bacteria. What are the bacteria which are contaminated, which are pathogens? These are specifically pathogens. These are significantly pathogenic, not saprophytic bacteria. Usually, the bacteria like Shigella species. The Shigella is a bacteria which is present and contaminated, is present in the drinking water, and it causes the diseases like Shigellosis. It causes Shigellosis, diarrhea. Sometimes the Shigellosis cause severe disease, and so many complications also because of the Shigellosis. Dysentery. Shigellosis causes dysentery, means the blood tinged motions caused by the Shigella. Blood tinged motions, or sometimes frank blood also passed in the motion, that is called Shigellosis. Next, Vibrio cholerae. Vibrio cholerae causes cholera, that is the rice water diarrhea. Rice water diarrhea is caused by the Vibrio cholerae. Vibrio cholerae. Next, Salmonella enterica. Salmonella enterica. These are some serotypes are there, like particularly Salmonella typhi. Salmonella typhi causes typhoid fever. Salmonella typhi causes typhoid fever, and paratyphoid A and B, C causes paratyphoid fever. Typhoid fever and paratyphoid fever, both combinedly called enteric fever. Both combinedly typhoid fever and paratyphoid fever combinedly called enteric fever, which are the species of the Salmonella. So next, Leptospira. The Leptospira ectohemorrhagiae, which cause Weil's disease. Particularly, these are the bacteria like Shigella, Vibrio cholerae, Salmonella typhi, Salmonella paratyphi A, B, and C, and Leptospira causes Weil's disease, which is the hepatorenal syndrome, and sometimes hepatohepatic encephalopathy, also caused by this leptospirosis. So these are the bacteria which are present in the water and drinking water and consumable water, domestic water, spread to the humans. These are the bacteria. Next, parasites. What are the parasites present in the drinking water? Parasites present in the protozoa. First, protozoa. The protozoa like Giardia lamblia. Giardia lamblia causes the diarrhea like disease with the humans. Giardia lamblia. And Entamoeba histolytica. Entamoeba histolytica present in the water. Entamoeba histolytica present in the water, which spread through the water. And helminths are which are sometimes supposed to spread through the water, and helminths like the Enterobius vermicularis and other Ascaris lumbricoides. These are the helminths which are spread through the water because of eggs which are contaminated to the humans, eggs contaminated to the humans. These are the helminths. Next, Schistosoma hematobium. Hematobium is also spread to the humans. And Dracunculus medinensis, Guinea worm, Dracunculus medinensis, also transmitted through the humans. These are the potentially pathogenic organisms which are spread through the water. First, protozoa like Giardia, lamblia, helminths and helminths like Schistosoma, and helminthic Ascaris eggs and Enterobius eggs, and Dracunculus medinensis. These are the helminths and protozoa which are potentially sometimes contaminated by the water, and it is spread to the humans. These are the parasites. Next, viruses. What are the viruses which are transmitted to the humans? Next, enteroviruses. Enteroviruses like poliovirus, hepatitis A, hepatitis E are transmitted. Poliovirus, hepatitis A, and poliovirus, hepatitis E also transmitted through the water. This is the pathogens. Next, coming to the bacteria, bacillary dysentery. The bacillary dysentery caused by Shigella, and Vibrio cholerae is caused by the cholera, enteric fever, typhoid fever, leptospiremia, and leptospirodia. These are the various infections which are transmitted by the organisms like bacteria, parasites, and viruses. Bacteria, parasites, and viruses. Next, other organisms like the Legionella pneumophila, found in hospital water and cooling towers. Hospital water, it is present. The Legionella is present in hospital hospital water, consumable water, and also cooling towers, ACs, etc. This bacteria is present. Is Legionella pneumophila, which is transmitted to the humans and causing pneumonia like disease. Legionella pneumophila causes pneumonia in the humans. Next, Serratia marcescens. Serratia marcescens is water of humidifier which also causes pneumonia. Serratia marstans causes pneumonia. Next, Mycobacterium genope. Mycobacterium genope is present in the hot water taps. Hot water taps and causes pneumonia. Mycobacterium genope present in the hot water, not in the cooling water. The mycobacterium present in the hot water taps. It is causes pneumonia. The mycobacterium the infection. And Pseudomonas bacteria is present in the water bottles for tracheal suction. It is present in the water bottles for tracheal suction. The Pseudomonas is present and causes also pneumonia. Pneumonia like disease. Pseudomonas passimobilis. The passimobilis, which is present in the water bottle for tracheal suction. Usually, they try for tracheal suction. Some big bottles are used. Usually, it is contaminated by the Pseudomonas passimobilis and causes sometimes to the humans, particularly ICU patients, that is pneumonia. Next, Mycobacterium cheiloni. Mycobacterium cheiloni is contaminated equipment and water tanks. Contaminated equipment, it is present and causes ear infection and nasal septum cellulitis. Ear infection and nasal septum cellulitis. And this is Mycobacterium cheiloni. And Acinetobacter species. The Acinetobacter species is present in water bath, fresh plasma. Acinetobacter is it is water bath contaminated by Acinetobacter. Causes bacteria. Acinetobacter causes bacteremia. Acinetobacter causes bacteremia. And Pseudomonas aeruginosa. Pseudomonas aeruginosa is present in the water bath used to thaw the cryoprecipitate and tub water. The cryoprecipitate and tub water. And the Pseudomonas aeruginosa is contaminated and cause bacteremia, folliculitis, and skin infections. Bacteremia, folliculitis, and skin infections. And next, the Clostridium difficile is present in the bath water. Clostridium difficile is present in the bath water and causes diarrhea. These are the bacteria which are present in the hospital settings, according to Rangel and Frosto. These are the organisms, about 8 organisms, which are responsible for various diseases like pneumonia and ear infection and bacteremia, diarrhea, etc. Pneumonia, bacteremia, diarrhea, etc. And bacteriological examination of water. How to do the bacteriological examination? Now, till now, we have discussed about the various bacteria which are present in the water and drinking water and hospital, community, and also in the hospital settings. Now, how to diagnose the bacteriological exam? How to diagnose the bacteria present in the water? How to diagnose the bacteria present in the water? This is called bacteriological examination of water. This is called bacteriological examination. How to do bacteriological water testing? This is also simply you can water analysis. The water analysis for bacteria. Water analysis for bacteria. It should be performed at regular intervals. We have to perform at regular intervals for the detection bacteriological examination of water. The first one is plate count. This is the most simple test for the detection of analysis of water. That is a plate count. Number of colonies formed in the pore plate cultures of water samples. Pore plating. This is nothing but the pore plating technique. The pore plating technique we have to do on the nutrient agar medium. We have to pour the water samples, suspected contaminated water samples on the medium like a nutrient agar medium, incubated aerobically, both at the temperature 37 degrees centigrade and 22 degrees centigrade. One plate at 37 degrees centigrade, another plate at 22 degrees centigrade. One plate 37 degrees centigrade for 2 days. The second plate keep the nutrient agar plate inoculated nutrient agar plate at a 22 degrees centigrade for 3 days. These are the this is the technique for observation of the bacteria present in the water. Observation of the bacteria after the inoculation. We have to keep the nutrient agar plates in the incubator, incubating at aerobically at 37 degrees centigrade and 22 degrees centigrade. 37 and 20 degrees centigrade, both temperatures. 2 plates, nutrient agar plates. After pouring the water samples in both plates, nutrient agar plates, and incubating aerobically at 37 and 22 degrees centigrade. 37 for 1 to 2 days, 22 for 3 days. After the incubation at 1 to 2 degrees centigrade and 2 to 22 degrees centigrade for 5 days, how to observe the colonies. The first one is plate count at 37 degrees centigrade for 2 days. 37 degrees centigrade, first plate count at 37 degrees centigrade. In the plate, nutrient agar plate, increase in plate count. The colonies are present. What is colony? The colonies are nothing but a group of bacteria, heap growth seen on the nutrient agar plates at 37 degrees centigrade and also at 20 degrees centigrade. We have to observe the number of colonies. We have to observe the plates counts, colony count. If the indicates some defect in the filter beds to be corrected immediately, increase in the plate count. Contamination is of animal or human origin. Plate count at 37 degrees, increase in the plate count at 37 degrees centigrade. So we have to observe the filter defected, filter beds defected. They are defected to be corrected immediately. Contamination is of animal or human origin. At plate count at 22 degrees centigrade, plate count at 22 degrees centigrade indicates the quantity of decomposing organic matter. Indicates the quantity of decomposing organic matter. Increase in plate count indicates water is contaminated with parasitic and pathogenic organisms. Parasitic and pathogenic organisms, both temperatures 37 and 22. 37 is for 2 days, 22 for 5 days. We can observe the colonies, both the temperatures on nutrient agar plates. Nutrient agar plates 37 degrees centigrade and 22 degrees centigrade. This is about the nutrient agar plate, that is called as plate count. First we have to do the plate count. Second testing is coliform bacteria. The coliform bacteria. What is meant by coliform bacteria? And in the colony counting technique, that is called as presence of coliform. Coliform means the organisms which are present in the colon. They are called Escherichia coli, Klebsiella, Proteus, Serratia, like that. Any bacteria. These bacteria are called coliform bacteria. Not only Escherichia coli, but also other bacteria we can detect by coliform count. That is called presumptive coliform count. For presumptive coliform count is nothing but the detection of the coliform bacteria. Presumptive coliform count. What is meant by presumptive coliform count? That is called as multiple tube technique. We have to use multiple tubes. Different amounts of the water, drinking water, and other water should be added to this multiple tube techniques, multiple tubes which containing some media. That media may be the nutrient broth, McConkey's broth, or some other special medium we can use in the tubes, multiple tubes. There are many tubes we have to use for this observation, presumptive observation of the only coliforms, any bacteria, but which are from nothing but from colon. This is called as a presumptive coliform count. The estimation of coliform organisms made by adding varying quantities of water. Varying quantities of water is added to the multiple tubes. The multiple tubes contains bile salt, lactose, peptone water, bile salt, lactose, peptone water we have to use. The tubes contains bile salt, lactose, peptone water. To this bile salt, lactose, peptone water, we have to add the suspected water. Suspected water we have to add and incubated at appropriate temperatures. This is called the multiple tube technique, also called presumptive coliform count. Second is medium is we can use double strength McConkey's broth is an alternative. Double strength McConkey's broth is as an alternative for this medium. And after that we can observe the growth that is called acid and gas formation. Acid and gas formation indicates the after incubation, after adding the water and incubation, we can observe the growth by observing the acid in the broth medium, McConkey's broth medium. Acid in the broth medium, and also gas formation also present. Suppose the water contains coliform bacilli. Suppose the bacteria are present in the water, drinking water, it may be observation of acid and gas. This indicates the bacteria present in the drinking water. And alternatively, we can use the McConkey's liquid medium. This liquid medium is range of quantities prepared. The range of quantities you have prepared depends on the intensity of the contamination. And by this, we can know the interpretation. What is interpretation? Multiple tubes, probable number of coliforms we can observe. Probable, that is called probable number of coliforms we can observe for 100 ml is read from the probability tables of McCready. Probability tables may be there. That according to that probability tables, But McCready tables, we can observe the number of coliforms are present for 100 ml. Number of coliforms are present from the 100 ml. This is the how to do. See, there are multiple tubes are there. Multiple tubes are there. From the multiple tubes, different varying amount of broth medium. Varying amount of broth medium, we have to add water, the quantity of water to sample to be added. Sample to be added. See, the first one is tube double strength McConkey's broth. The first three tubes are double strength. The McConkey's broth is double strength, not is a single strength. Double strength McConkey's broth, and the second three tubes are single strength McConkey's broth. Single strength McConkey's broth. The third tube is the same single strength McConkey's broth. Single strength McConkey's broth. To first three tubes, we have to add the water, drinking water, suspected contaminated water, that is a 10 ml quantity. We have to add 10 ml of quantity of water. We have to add to the double strength McConkey's broth. All three tubes. There is a inside a Durham's tube is also kept for observation of the gas. Durham's tube and broth. Suppose there is any bacteria are there, the broth medium will be converted into yellow color. The McConkey's broth will convert into yellow color. Suppose any colonies are present, any bacteria are present, the drinking water, the double strength medium will be converted into yellow color. Suppose there is no bacteria, there is no color, original color, there is a pink color will be there in the tubes. Original pink color will be there. Suppose any bubbles are observed, that indicates the gas formation. Bubbles are there, that indicates the gas formation. Similarly, the second three tubes, the single strength, it is not a double strength. The single strength, we have to prepare the medium, McConkey's broth medium. According to the quantity of this McConkey's, we have to pour in the three tubes. That is single strength McConkey's broth. That is 1 ml, 1 ml, 1 ml. We have to add. The third is single strength also says McConkey's broth. That is not 1 ml. It is 0.1 ml water. We have to add all three tubes. 0.1 ml first, second 0.1 ml, third 0.1 ml. The first is 10 ml, 10 ml to first three tubes. The second is 1 ml, 1 ml, 1 ml to the second tube. The third is 0.1 ml, 0.1 ml, 0.1 ml to add to the last three tubes. Like this, we have to add and observe the coliform bacteria present in the field. And these double strength and single strength media incubated 37 degrees centigrade for 48 hours. 37 degrees centigrade for 48 hours. We have to incubate for 48 hours. Double strength and single strength. Look for change in the color of the broth and for the gas formation. After that, we have to observe the color change, gas formation. We have change in the color of broth and gas production. Suppose it is a positive, and suppose there is no change in the color of broth or gas production, it is negative. Suppose any bacteria are present in the tubes, there will be a change in the color of the broth, but there is no bacteria present in the drinking water. There is no change in the broth of the McConkey's broth of all the three types, three varying amount of tubes. That is negative. Positive, so positive, we have to observe the inoculate these positive bottles, subculture on the tubes, plates, subculturing on the plates. This subculturing on the plate and isolate the bacteria. What type of bacteria are present? Coliform bacteria present. What number of bacteria are present? That suppose it is negative, no bacteria present. Estimate the number of bacteria sample from standard tables. After that, suppose there is a number of bacteria present that indicate that use the bacteria are present this amount, that is according to the for 1 ml, 100 ml, how much bacteria colonies are present, that we can come to the clue from this multiple tubes method. It is nothing but the bacteriological analysis by, it is a standard method for the observation of the coliform bacteria. See, this is from the according to the McCready tables. Suppose the presumptive coliform count per 100 ml 0 and E. coli count per 100 ml 0. That is the class 1 excellent. Class 2 is satisfactory. 1 to 3 coliform count per 100 ml. Class 3 suspicious. 4 to 10 coliform count per 100 ml. Class 4 unsatisfactory. More than 10 coliform count are present. That is called unsatisfactory. This is the method we have to use for the multiple tube method. Multiple tube method we have to use. Next, not only coliform count, there is another test. The test is called Eichmann test. That is differential coliform test. Differential coliform test. That is not coliform. That is a differential coliform test used to determine whether the coliform bacilli detected in the presumptive test are E. coli, not only coliforms. We have to observe whether the Escherichia coli are present or not. That is called Eichmann test. Eichmann test is a differential coliform test. It is not a simple coliforms. It is, we can differentiate whether it is a E. coli is present or not. That is called Eichmann test. What is the methodology following? With the presumptive test, subcultures are made from all the bottles, showing acid and gas to fresh tubes of single strength McConkey's medium, pre-warmed at 37 and incubated at 44 degrees centigrade. You have to incubate at 37 degrees centigrade. You have to pre-warm at 37 degrees centigrade and incubate at higher temperature. That shows whether the E. coli is present or not. That is nothing but that is a temperature tolerant. Tolerance can be detected by the pre-warming at 37 and incubating at 44. That is the methodology for observation of Eichmann test. The interpretation is the tubes exhibiting gas in the Durham's tubes are deemed to contain E. coli. That is, the gas is not important for the observation of E. coli. Suppose any other bacteria are present, this test is not useful. This is only for E. coli. That is the test is called presumptive coliform test. The numbers are estimated using how much an amount is present for 100 ml. That is estimated by using McCready probability tables. McCready probability tables. McCready probability tables. This is about the Eichmann test. The third one is membrane filtration method. The membrane filtration. We have to filter the bacteria. They have to stop the bacteria. That is, the stopping filter will be there. That is, the measured volume of water is filtered to a membrane with a pore size of 22 micrometers. Measured volume of water is filtered through a membrane with a pore size of 22 micrometers. That is, methodology is the membrane filter with retained bacteria is placed on the suitable media and incubated. Colonies that develop on the surface of the membrane are counted. After 18 hours, presumptive coliforms and Escherichia counts are made. That is called membrane filtration method. The membrane filter with the retained bacteria retained is placed on the suitable medium and incubated. In this medium, because of filter, the bacteria retained, the others will be eliminated, removed. Only bacteria, it is nothing but bacteria stopping. In the mesh, in the filter, the bacteria will be retained. The others are washed out. So that we can observe the bacteria only. That is particularly Escherichia coli only. That is called membrane filtration method for the detection of the drinking water and river water, etc. Next one is detection of fecal streptococci. Sometimes the drinking water is contaminated with streptococci, fecal streptococci. The presence of fecal streptococci, Streptococcus fecalis, suggests recent fecal contamination. Recent fecal contamination is detected by the fecal fecalis. For this, we have to use the medium is called as glucose azide broth. The glucose azide broth is used. The broth is positive for growth in the presumptive coliform test or subculture tubes containing 5 ml glucose azide broth. 5 ml azide broth we have to use for this fecal streptococci and incubated at 45 degrees centigrade. Incubated at 45 degrees centigrade. Enterococcus fecalis is indicated by presence of acid in the medium within 18 hours. Within 18 hours, confirmed by plating on the McConkey's membrane filtration may also be used. This is called the fecal streptococci testing. Fecal streptococci testing using the glucose azide broth. Glucose azide broth incubated at 45 degrees centigrade. Putting the water in the glucose azide broth and incubated at 45 degrees centigrade. And particularly after 18 hours, we can observe the colonies on the glucose azide broth. Glucose azide medium. The growth is observed in the glucose azide broth. This is about the detection of fecal streptococci. Next, sometimes some other bacteria like Clostridium perfringens is also present. Present in water for long duration. Its presence alone indicates fecal contamination. That is not recent. The fecal contamination, if suppose it is a Streptococcus fecalis, that is a recent fecal contamination. Suppose it is a Clostridium perfringens. Clostridium perfringens is present. That is not recent contamination. It is a contaminated by feces, but not recent. It is a late contamination. And the methodology how to detect this Clostridium perfringens, we have to use a litmus milk medium. Varying quantities of water samples are incubated in litmus milk at 37 degrees centigrade for 5 days. 37 degrees centigrade for 5 days. In the litmus milk medium, suppose it is a clot formation is present. That clot formation is stormy clot formation. Stormy clot formation indicates the presence of Clostridium perfringens. stormy clot formation present. Clostridium perfringens. Clostridium perfringens is present, but it's not a recent contamination. It is a indication of old contamination. That is, the medium used is litmus milk medium. Litmus milk medium. And there are some other other tests are also there for bacteriological analysis. Pathogenic bacteria. If required, typhoid bacilli, cholera, embryos may have to look for the drinking water. We also use it for the drinking water using the various culture media, particularly Meconius media. That is about the bacteria. Sometimes viruses are also present in the water. Viruses and protozoa are also present in the water. That how to detect the drinking water by the various isolated from that by using the tissue culture methods, tissue enteroviruses and other cytopathogens in the tissue culture method. Protozoa. The protozoa is there is no special test for the detection of the protozoa in water, but the protozoa like enterovi histolytica, we can observe the cysts and etc. Trophozoites are present, and Giardia also, Valentidium coli also. The protozoal cysts are present. Sometimes elements, the eggs are present in the drinking water. So here we can observe, we can know that the water is should be safe for the drinking purpose. Then only we have to take. It should be clear. It should be colorless. It should be there is no taste, disagreeable taste. There is no water, etc. present. Then only water should be safe. Water is safe. Then only we have to take the drinking water. And also not only drinking water, the domestic water also should be safe for the purpose of the domestic usage. This is about the bacteriology of water. Bacteriology of water. Tomorrow we'll discuss about the bacteriology of air, etc. Thank you. Thank you very much.